Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today
channel.
we are watching Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 21.
Mm-hmm.
I am very excited. I words can't contain my excitement.
You can't even describe it with words. It's not possible.
No. I would like to say a couple things, though. Number one, I adored last episode and the episode prior. We watched them both one after another, like immediately.
Which was a good choice, and it felt
very good choice. I am astounded and in awe by the quality of the production this season. And in regards to Kugisaki, we've talked in our last two discussions about where we kind of lie in belief of if she will come out of this alive or not. Mm-hmm. Now, majority of our belief that she wouldn't be dead originally came from Cope.
Yes.
And came
from...
And the one evidence that wasn't, she didn't explode
her body
like Nanami.
Looked intact, except for the eye.
After last episode, we also had the addition of Nita's ability, and that could potentially get Kugisaki to a healer before she dies, if she's still alive, in the slightest bit. But one thing that, while editing the videos, I remembered was in my opinion, this adds in the bucket of Kugisaki being dead.
Boo.
Which if they did, that would be the craziest shit ever. I don't think I've ever watched a show that has killed one of the main three characters like that. But our first piece of evidence that we'd already mentioned was the bringing up of Fumi and Sayori, right? And trying to go bookend with that narrative that we were introduced to in episode 3 of season 1, I believe. Now, the second piece of evidence that I realized while editing, because it was kind of hard to miss after the fact, was the symbolism of the chairs. Mm-hmm. Now, in talking about going bookend with a character, not only would we have Sayori, but in episode, I think, 24 of season 1, after the fight with the brothers and Itadori trying to talk to Nobara about killing, what that means, what life is, Nobara makes some type, I'm going to paraphrase here, but some type of analogy when it comes to letting people within her life, that there's only a set amount of chairs in her life, but there are some people, referring to Itadori, that just bring up a chair even though there wasn't one to begin with.
They bring their own.
Now, with in editing it and watching it again and just seeing her with the chairs there and then the chair fall over, I'm like, how wouldn't she be dead here? If it would be, I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted still, and I think majority of my belief that she lives is just, I've never seen anything that would kill someone like her off.
I think it's mainly just that it would be incredibly surprising to me if she was actually dead. Like a character like Nanami dying, it was hard to watch. It was obviously not something that we would have wanted, but it was also a safer choice.
Still
and easier maybe for the viewer than one of the core the 3, or Gojo or something, one of the very much main characters or main cast. But honestly, I don't know who they're willing to kill anymore.
Yep. We think that Mei might be dead.
We think so. Don't know about Naobito, and don't know about Maki still. So that's a question mark. But,
okay.
And maybe Wee.
All right.
Maybe Wee's dead.
This will be fun.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a continuation of the fight.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we got this really epic kind of imagery of Mahito raising these worm-like things out of the ground, and Todo and Itadori are currently in the air looking down at him, and we had the best freaking look on Mahito's face when he was like, the last time you and I curse each other. And I expect that we're gonna get right into it, and it's gonna be awesome.
Ready?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, that was Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 21.
Yes, it was. That was
I don't
mean. I feel like someone was just really mean to me.
I don't know where to start. I don't.
Probably not the end, because that's not really in the style that we like to discuss things.
Okay. I talked about it during the intro, just to visit it again. The idea of Toto's technique, regardless of if we're going to be seeing it in the future, the Boogie Woogie, I was a little bit surprised to see how the coat hanger thing worked this episode. Obviously, we saw different iterations of it last episode, but the idea that not only can he transport with different objects, regardless of what he deems them as, but he can decide if he wants to take on the property and motion of that object at that time is something that I had no thought about, and that's insane to me. That's crazy. That's awesome.
I like what was happening with creating a conversation between Toto's techniques and Mahito's techniques in terms of this new what was it?
The polymorphic soul.
The polymorphic soul, that he could decide how much energy or power to be giving to each of those things that he was creating. It's so similar because it's like putting energy or power into something that is separate from your main body.
Yep.
So that's a really that you can then have be in a different location. There's a really nice conversation that's happening between those two techniques in terms of like where they are able to meet with similarities, which is really fun and nice for a fight, to have like these two enemies start to be able to like understand how the other works based on watching and observing, but also knowledge of how their own techniques work.
Yeah. The conversation with Sukuna was something I knew if like a fight got to the point of Mahito having to use domain expansion again, it'd have to be revisited. But I cannot tell you how amazing the writing is that you are going to apply something like, okay, think about it, right? Think about that shit. We have a piece of key information that we learn in season 1 that Itadori's soul must not be touched. After doing so and being within the domain of Mahito, Sukuna borderline kills him in season 1. We are given that is on the table. And then, so I'm like, okay, can't use domain expansion. Mahito learns from Gojo the idea of activating a domain for 0.2 seconds, does the same, manages to achieve it, and then plays off of it. What great writing. What astounding writing. Because you know what? It's the best kind of writing that isn't out of left field surprise plot device that is something we didn't know about. It's something that we could have figured out all on our own, that Mahito could have potentially one day done this to counteract the lack of using his domain on Itadori. What a great show.
We have this idea that Mahito is consistently, especially in the last couple episodes or even in this season, he in his dialogue has been pretty heavy letting us know that he was getting close to finding like the true essence of his soul. And with each battle he was having, with each observation of another person's technique that he was witness to, he has been getting closer and closer and closer to completely understanding and unlocking his true self, his true essence, as Itadori said, a trip of self-discovery. And honestly, it doesn't surprise me. And also, it's very terrifying to have this idea of this curse that not only their body can continuously change and morph and is unpredictable, but their soul and their knowledge, can consistently be continuing to grow and learn and get stronger, just like a person, but even could probably surpass the level a person could continue to grow and learn.
I despise that Toto's hurt. It really fucks me up. By the language at the end of the episode, I was like, okay, Boogie Woogie's okay. He can do it with what's left of his arm. But him saying that it's dead.
Yeah, and the fact that the clap was just for distraction's sake and not actually to switch with Itadori.
Which is a great callback from season 1. But wow.
He really was like, I can't actually do something here. the best I can do for my brother in this situation is basically to act as, like, just another body, a distraction for him. Like, that amount of, like, set aside your ego, if you will, and, like, just be focused on what can I do for my brother Itadori right now, as he is the one that has to do this now.
Yep.
It's so good. Toto is such a good character.
He's an amazing character, and I love that he was able to act quick enough to be able to cut off his arm to save the rest of himself. But when Mahito was activating it, he reverted using a simple domain that was taught by Yuki Tsukumo, right?
Mm-hmm. When I saw what the bruise looked like after that punch.
Oh yeah.
And then you get the blood right after. I was like, oh.
How much it was, truly.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever felt the way that I did once that locket opened.
Stop.
I legitimately, like, we had focus on it last episode and added focus this episode. Once we started seeing it, like, it wither and break, I was like, what is this? Is this something from Yuki? Is it going to activate Yuki? Is she going to show up? Is like a condition going to be met that we didn't know about from Toto? I'm a fucking idiot. It's better than anything I could have ever imagined. Takada and Itadori in one piece of jewelry. God, what a TV show.
I want to know if he asked Itadori for a picture, if he took that picture of Itadori, if he asked someone else for a picture of Itadori. Like, how did he get a picture of Itadori? Is headcanon. I really just want to know.
I love that it
sounds like fun to think about.
It was like a massive sweeping shot of like
and like Mahito's reaction to it opening was so hysterical. I was like, what is happening right now? Like, this, I should not be laughing right now. I should not be having the time of my life right now.
When have you ever seen a show like this? Like, this is absolutely amazing.
I literally just saw Nobara probably be dead in the last 2 episodes, and now I'm laughing. Like, why are you doing this to me? This is wild and crazy.
I'm just so happy Takada's been able to help in the fight, you know? Wow. I adore it. I love how long it lasted, too. It's phenomenal. I could not in my wildest of dreams imagined up something that I would enjoy as much as I did this moment.
I really did enjoy it. I like Toto's imagination, but I think the part, like, that happens right after this that really gets me is the fact that he slapped Mahito's hand. We haven't seen a character yet in terms of fighting other than Itadori that's, like, willingly, come to blows so close with Mahito because of what he can do if he touches you. Like, luckily, Nobara, in her fighting style, is more distance and is able to safely fight someone who, like, Mahito, you can't let them touch you. But, obviously, we know that didn't end up working well on her end. But the fact that a character has actually gone out of their way to sacrifice or, like, willingly take the consequences of touching Mahito's hand in order to clap with it.
Yep.
So crazy. So good.
It's, like, it's amazing on so many levels. Because, like, the action in of itself and the idea of it is so extraordinary and perfect on its own. But then combining that with, like, a callback from season 1 of when Toto's getting fired at by Hanami and is like, oh, what am I to do? I know, increased my cursed energy. And then goes into that other world with Takada that all takes place in less than, like, 0.1 of a second. And it gives him that information, that intelligence, that a billion IQ to figure out that no, the difference because of what happened to Megumi is to shut down the cursed energy. It's a callback to then. Mm-hmm. It's like the idea of this ingenious plan that he has here to slap Mahito's hand, like, canonically makes sense with this world with Takada.
What we're seeing is, like, we're seeing a writer who isn't just having callbacks to us for visual, but what he's showing is that villains and jujutsu sorcerers alike remember their own past that has been written. They remember the things that have happened to them, and they will apply those things in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Both from Mahito in this episode and recently to Todo.
And Itadori.
Like, that, it really helps with the whole, like, real people, making them feel real. Therefore, you can feel, as a viewer, more emotionally attached to them and much more excited or freaking out when they do have some sort of, like, growth, because you also saw it with them. You saw them experience something for the first time, and then you're getting to see them apply it later and be growing. It's so fulfilling and satisfying for a viewer to experience that.
And then so after Mahito's you're so right. It, like, to point out, like, what this takes from a writing standpoint, there's such a level of awareness within each character that being observant enough as a character and as a writer to be able to call back these things for each character's own benefit in a fight, it enhances the story, it makes our interpretations of the character's intelligence go up, and it's so rewarding to see because it's something that we're, like, as viewers, like, it of course it adds up perfectly.
Like, a person is not just this linear line with a bunch of events just stemming off of them that is the events of their life. That's not how it works, because then you're forgetting that those events would inform or affect the person, their personality, the choices they would have made. Maybe 5 days ago you would eat a tuna melt, but then it made you sick, and now you're not going to eat it anymore.
Yeah.
Now your favorite food isn't tuna melts anymore. I've never even had a tuna melt in my life. I don't know why I picked that as the sandwich of choice here. But maybe it was a massive personality trait of yours, and now it's not, because there was consequences to your actions.
Well, it's like, okay, if you're trying to get objective A done, and you attempt it and fail it, and then you watch someone else step up to the plate, and they do objective A, and they're able to complete it. Down the line, when you're trying to complete objective C, you might be like, holy shit, watching that person do objective A has given me an idea I should try to apply here in this situation. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's growth in mental and physical, and we're watching it on screen in real time.
It's
like
intuitive. It's so like real to how, like, we think it, like, because you're going into it with this energy, like, I'm just gonna try this thing. I, like, got inspired here.
Yeah.
It might not work out, but it's an idea, and I'm gonna go with it. And you do, and you try it, and it's like an experiment. Like,
as the fight progresses, as Mahito transforms, we hit him, and are another great callback to give us as an audience an understanding of how fucked Itadori is. Use Choso as a benchmark. Mm-hmm. We are not only watching as characters are learning how to improve fighting in the moment, they're getting stronger. We're seeing how they're getting stronger, why they're getting stronger, what specific things are making them stronger.
To beat Mahito, Itadori could not stay stagnant.
Yep.
In terms of growth from a fighting sense, in terms of ability, but also mentally, because of the lines we get at the end being like, I am you. And opening up there of being like, I was rejecting that idea.
I want to read through
yeah, definitely we'll read through it. But Itadori wouldn't have been able, obviously, by how we end the episode, he hasn't actually defeated Mahito, like, by killing him.
Yeah.
But Mahito, to defeat a curse like Mahito, you have to also be equally continuously moving and growing. Progressing. You can't be stagnant mentally, emotionally, physically. You have to continuously be adapting, which is one of, like, Itadori's, like, tagline, like, personality traits, is his, like, flexibility, his adaptability. It fits with that kind of friendly, lovable character trope.
There's this, like, one of the best things about Itadori as a character, not just for me watching him, but from other characters in universe commenting on him is his will and his steadfast belief in whatever he chooses to believe in that second. And in the idea that no Jujutsu sorcerer is able to conjure and use a black flash at will, this is a reminder for us. This was a reminder for Mahito once he brings it up himself.
To remind us how freaking massive what about to happen is.
Itadori doesn't fucking wince, blink, think twice about that this is impossible.
Yeah.
It's, this needs to be done, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and I wrote down the current Itadori can.
I am in love with it. And also, when I was like a kid, my grandfather, this is unlocking memories. My grandfather was really into baseball. I've never really been into baseball, but he used to keep like physical like sheets and books for every MLB game that ever went on. And he would like keep track of each inning, each hits, everything. And through that baseball culture, I learned about people who use dip, right?
Oh yeah.
And
okay.
in like the most horrific cases in keeping that dip within their cheek, there's an opening there that occurs. That has scarred me for the rest of my life until today. I've never thought that somebody who had skin missing in between their lip and their ear that makes their teeth visible would be such a vibe. It looks so cool on Itadori. It only
looks cool because it's drawn. If it was real and we were seeing this for a live action,
I still think it'd be badass.
CG'd it or did some cool makeup because of some amazing makeup artist, I don't think you would think it's a vibe. But I think because we have seen for Itadori and Sukuna, like imagery, seeing the smile, seeing the eyes, that it works and it's something we accept easily. But it's more morbid and more disgusting by the fact that it's actually a hole in his cheek. I was confused at first because I was like, wait, is this a Sukuna smile or is this a hole in his cheek?
I don't think I've ever seen battle damage like this in any anime I've ever watched in my entire life, and I absolutely adore it. Could you imagine doing a cosplay of Itadori during this fight and you practically, like, whether it's face paint or just practical, like, prosthetics, you're able to, like, have, like, a gash with fake teeth there? That'd be so badass.
I mean, another character from recent to add to that idea of battle damage, Nobara. We get a close-up of the side of her, like what her face looks like. And it's wild.
We got a shot from the camera was inside of her head.
Inside of her freaking like empty eye socket.
Watching this arc alone has contained non-stop the best settings for fights I have ever seen in anime consistently. Ever. Like, there are some great set pieces you can name off any anime, right? Like, the best of the best. But contained in 21 episodes, I have never seen anything like it. It's ridiculous.
It's so crazy that it's like, yes, I'm gonna have this giant fight with so many different players involved, happen in one location, like one city, couple blocks, and they're going from the train, they're going underground, they're going in the air, they're going this skyscraper, that skyscraper,
they're going
cars
into the ground in other areas that access as water lines. Like it's insane. It's extraordinary, man.
Literal like office that probably had people working in it, like
the coat
2
hanger,
hours
the
beforehand. Department store. The scaling of this environment and us moving through it. When
we watch Itadori temporarily underwater getting ready to fire a black flash.
And then the water like moves away. It's so good.
Gorgeous, man. It's so well done. I
don't know if I said this to you outside of here, this space that we are in right now. But I think I've said to you recently that whatever is happening here with this event that we are currently watching, Jujutsu Kaisen, this fight is one of my favorite things that I've seen in an action anime in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like a arc, a battle, a villain that
Hands
we're fighting.
down.
In any action anime that I've seen with fighting, this is like hands down one of my favorite. The fact that it can span so many fucking episodes and I'm not annoyed by that and I'm not bored by that and I'm not like, wait, wrap this up. Like, I would never want this to wrap up.
So I like geek out to you a little bit about it sometimes. I don't currently watch it, but as a kid I did, and have much appreciation for the industry of wrestling, right? Like WWE wrestling, because
you do geek out sometimes about it.
It's something, there's something that is very admirable to the idea of how much performance, more so storytelling, goes in to a very well done match in wrestling. Again, I haven't watched in a long time, but the best of the best are there's storytelling behind it. If somebody injures their left arm throughout the fight and the other person in the ring notices that and then works at that left arm for the entirety of the fight because it and just weakens it, that's storytelling. This, like you just said, has been nonstop action since we've really gotten to Shibuya, and it is not for a second felt like it's been too long because of how well the storytelling is throughout the action. Like the getting to the next step too, right? Like I can't believe they managed to show me Fushigoro's the Fushiguro, right? The sorcerer killer Fushiguro entering back into the series at the same time of a Naobito fight with Dagon, while incorporating then Sukuna, and then using that to draw a bridge to Nanami and Mahito, which then draws a bridge to Itadori, but it's perfect. It's perfect.
All of the people that have been here and added to this too, like even like Ghetto's girls, like everything has been so amazing and horrifying. And exactly what I would want in terms of if I'm watching an action anime with the stakes that have been set for me, that Jujutsu Kaisen set within the first episode or two in terms of Itadori's life being like freaking on the line here, and Gojo basically, as long as Gojo's alive, Itadori's life is basically protected. As soon as the stakes were entered with the story starting, I expect those stakes to continue.
Oh yeah.
And maybe even be shown to me that like, yeah, we know it's life or death. We're going to show you death. Like that. This is what I expected from this series. And I am so glad that it's actually happening. There's no wimping out that's happening here in this fight. Especially if they do end up killing Nobara. Like, especially if Nobara's actually dead. There has been no... I wouldn't even say it would be wimping out if you kept Nobara alive. I'm not necessarily saying that, but like you're not pulling your punches.
Yeah.
You are punching a bunch, and it's working. And I feel just a crazy mix of emotions that I couldn't even. I think it started. I would say when this arc first started, I was feeling horrified and really down, worried, apprehensive, not very hopeful, but mostly just super unsettled, uncomfortable, like holy fuck, Gojo getting sealed, this is not good, Ino's probably gonna die, oh no, now Fushiguro's here. Like, I kept getting hit with all these things, and Maki getting burned, I kept getting hit with all these things, and now it's like, I have this unsettling, worried feeling, scared feeling. What about Nobara? Oh my god, I just watched Nanami die. I believe that Toto probably saw that someone else was dead in a time period that we didn't get to see last episode. I believe there was some other death that he hasn't told Itadori about. Just based on dialogue evidence, I feel like there's something he's keeping from him. But while that's going on, I'm feeling incredibly, like, positive in terms of Itadori being able to win here.
Not anymore for me.
No, with like Geto showing up? Okay.
No, but
I'm not including Geto in this. Right. You're right to bring up Geto here. Up until the point of Geto's appearance here, I think just by narratively what's happening, the energy, the music, watching Mahito fighting Itadori, watching Todo come back in and support Itadori the way he did. Like, there's this, they have me in this, like, really hopeful place. They tell me, oh, Nita says that maybe Nobara will survive. I'm like, okay.
Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, I feel like I am getting my hopes up, and that's so freaking dangerous.
I'm not. I'm just enjoying myself. Yeah, I am adoring this more than... Like, okay, just so I just want to comment on it real quick, because it popped into my mind, and it's another thing I appreciate that isn't being forgotten about. Do you remember in season 1... God, I'm such a fake fan. Episode, let's say like 15. It's during Todo and Itadori's first clash at the event. And Todo says after that delay in Itadori's punch and how it's like a delayed like force that hits him, that his curse technique and how he's utilizing it is wrong. And then it echoes through the woods. It comes back in full circle, full swing, and benefits Itadori in this fight against Mahito. And that's another thing, that just the attention to detail. This is my favorite fight of the season. It's hard to say that there's one, especially because of how much Red Scale means to me in just an artistic and visual means. But the this is by far one of the best and well executed storytelling throughout a fight that I've ever seen in my entire life. It is immaculate.
Something during this fight that I wrote down that I'll just make sure I say, when Itadori does that kind of final black flash, and the colors are like these vibrant reds are happening, greens, like yellows. The art style reminds me of Entertainment District arc for Demon Slayer, and the art on Tanjiro at like the end fights in the Entertainment District arc.
We'll get there in a minute, only because I wanted to look at this visually. When Itadori is like winding up for a punch here, it initially, weird comparison, gave me My Hero Academia Infinite 100 Deku's punch. Just by the panning of the camera and the lighting on the face, but immediately that changed for me because of the just the punch from Itadori and the black flash. Is this the one that you were talking about, or one that's to come?
It's like this whole time period.
It's
because I think there was one where it's like even brighter, like yellows and reds on his faces, and he has like his mouth open. Yeah, okay. And so there's yellow that's appearing now behind him. If we can put it on the screen, we will. Or the editor will.
Yeah. It's the blacks for me that gives me Entertainment District.
Yeah, it was just the way the color was being used and the lines were that was reminding me of Tanjiro fighting in the end of Entertainment District arc.
I am
Demon Slayer.
Fucking obsessed with this show, man. I can't.
And then right after that, Mahito, he's out.
I was so scared he wouldn't be, and the second I saw that he was, I was like, Mahito's gonna die.
Like, that's great. Like, to have us get to see him realizing. I love when we get to see characters realize something. The fact that he doesn't realize that he's that at a disadvantage here in this fight.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, okay, I have these, like, trump cards. Like, I have these other weapons to utilize, but he's out.
Yep. You shouted it out during the episode. I'm going to do it again, but not just for Mahito. The voice acting in this season has been out of this world. It's been ridiculous. Itadori's voice actor here, Mahito's earlier in the episode for sure, phenomenal. But Itadori's delivery here
for this
was
final
phenomenal.
There's this energy that it has this commanding, terrifying presence that Sukuna's voice actor has and Sukuna's imagery has, that was now being embodied by Itadori and his voice actor.
I want to read it. God, I'll accept it, Mahito. Mahito's expression. I am you. The way that
like,
Itadori's
dead in the
drawn
eyes.
here
It's so dark.
is phenomenal. I love it so much. I love it. It gives me so manga.
There's like a resoluteness to it. Like what he's saying is like solidified.
Yeah.
There's no wavering here.
It's a conclusion that he's come to.
Yes, it's like completely matter of fact.
I wanted to reject you. I wanted to pretend that I didn't understand what you said. But that's different now. I'll just kill you. And if you're ever reborn again as a new curse, I'll kill you then too. You can change your name, change your appearance, but I'll still kill you again and again. I don't need meaning or a reason for anything anymore. Maybe there will be, what was that? Maybe there will be
some
meaning to be found. The shadow projecting in front of Mahito with the red eyes. Are you kidding me? For my actions several centuries after I'm dead. But I'm sure I'm just one big cog in the wheel. My favorite line's about to come after using the symbolism of cog in a wheel. I'll keep killing curses until I rust away. I love that just applies to the line previously, because that is my role in this war. God, and then the switch. Oh my God.
Okay, I feel like one of the main reasons that this switching in what I would say is Mahito's perspective, like imagery of what is happening here, is I think one of the things that makes it work even better for the sake of this episode is that we get Toto earlier in his imagination, and then we see what was actually happening outside of his imagination, and we get that here. Like, instead of snow, Mahito's slinging like dirt and mud.
Yep. Hiding a fucking rock in a snowball like a little piece of shit. Fuck him. Fuck Mahito. Okay. Alright,
So, now we have to
Geto's
talk about
here.
what happens at the end. Geto is here, and he says, like, want me to save you, Mahito? Something like that. Something along those lines.
Let's bring it
Will
up.
I save you?
Shall I save you, Mahito? If that's how things are progressing, we're fucked.
Narratively, can you keep Mahito here? Like, can you keep him as an antagonist, as a villain? Can you really keep him after all of this? Like, I feel like when you have a villain character or an enemy, it's kind of dangerous to keep them for too long if they're actually getting directly involved and directly fighting the protagonist. Because then it's like, oh, do they always get away? You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like as a viewer, I'm like, do I need Mahito to die here? Like, how would I feel if Mahito is just whisked away and saved by Geto? Like, how do I feel about that? How will I feel if that's the case?
You know what's interesting? We've never come anywhere close, from what I remember, to any type of interaction between Geto and Itadori. Ever. What does that even look like?
Well, we don't know, because they ended the episode before showing us what it would be like. But that means, that we know where the Prism Realm is now.
Maybe.
It's probably right there where Itadori is. Unless Geto did something else with it.
What's her name? What's his name? What's their name? You know?
His name, her name?
What is their name? Were we given it? The one who was talking to Sukuna?
Did they go for the Prison Realm?
Well, I'm just saying, if Geto and they interacted, then Uraume, I believe, there could have been some, passing of the prison realm there.
Like passing of the torch.
But,
I don't know if I could see
so
that happening.
in just thinking and bringing up that Geto and this version of Geto and Itadori haven't interacted, we can, I guess, kind of make a decent guess at what it would be like based off of how this version of Geto is referred to and talked about Itadori and what their plan was with Sukuna. It was very, like, disassociated. So that would make me... That would make me think that, there wouldn't be anything crazy to expect. That being said, if Gojo is sealed, there wouldn't be much need for Mahito besides just strengthening Geto's side of things, right?
Right. There's, like, basically two choices in terms of writing this.
Geto kills him or Geto saves him. in my opinion.
I meant in like the ending of this fight in general. You either need to have them. Okay, there's 3 options. Geto just walks away here, not because he's running away, but because he utterly defeats Itadori, but not to the point of killing him, and then just leaves with Gojo in the Prism Realm. Or we have Gojo somehow released and Geto is actually killed here. Or we have, for some reason, Geto actually running away instead of just leaving. Like, running away because he's trying to avoid losing his life.
Do you think there's any chance Sukuna comes back out?
You know, I don't know. Because of that look that he gave Mahito, that smile, it almost seemed like he isn't planning on getting involved anytime soon.
I don't know.
But now that Geto, the Prison Realm, and Gojo are part of the conversation, possibly.
What if Yuta pulls up?
I wouldn't mind that.
So, legitimately, think about how much is not forgotten about in this one episode.
Yeah.
We have a direct reference to Gojo utilizing his domain expansion for 0.2 of a second. Because that's brought back narratively, what happens in the same fucking episode? The acknowledgement of he's gonna defeat you again in Yuta. Mm-hmm. If Yuta shows up, that would be pretty fucking equal.
And we get from last episode that Mekamaru ensured that the Kyoto school would be, most of them would be pretty far away. But that doesn't include, like, anyone else.
Yeah.
We don't know the location of anyone else other than
we haven't seen Panda in a minute.
We also have not seen Panda or the man he was with since they ran away when Sukuna gave them the opportunity to.
I don't even know what to expect, man.
Well, I guess they could enter back into the story.
I don't know if they can.
Do they want to get involved after having an interaction so directly with Sukuna?
Last thing I'll say, let's make a prediction.
Okay.
Next episode, do we open up with the fight between Geto and Mei? Or do we open up here and then just it's barely talked about, then we flash to a dead body?
Ooh. I'm gonna go with the second one. But I think that at some point in this, it will be brought up or subtly said in a way that Itadori comes to an understanding of what that meant, because he'd be like, he knows, he was with her at the beginning of this arc, like they separated, he knows like that she, as far as he knows, she's still out there, but what if something is said to him here in the same way that I think that Todo might have been referring to her, I'm not going to tell Itadori this, that I feel like it might be more compelling if it's more like nuanced and subtly kind of like Geto's kind of saying something that alludes to it.
Gotcha.
And Itadori picks it up and like freaks out, and then somewhere we get like a cut.
Okay, I add another thought. Another character that could be massively entertaining to see here. Do you remember one of the last people to talk to Geto before his beliefs were solidified in action while he was still alive?
Yeah.
It was Yuki, I believe. Yuki Tsukumo. If she showed up and talked to this version of Geto, I wonder what that would look like.
When Todo is also in the room?
Yeah. That would be fucking awesome.
Interesting.
Yo, this version of Geto,
we don't know where anyone else
type?
is. We only know where the people that we saw were Utsuhime and the other kids of the Kyoto school. We don't know where anyone else is.
There isn't
and how
much
far
else.
away they are.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some stragglers. There's some other people. We already saw the man that was with Panda, and I'm like, who are you?
All right, that's all I have you.
Yeah.
What an amazing episode. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.